Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network. The broadcast shows are for informational and entertainment purposes only. They are not designed to provide listeners with specific personal, medical, or counseling advice. Individuals with a medical issue should always consult their healthcare provider. MS&Me is not responsible for content of individual shows. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own. Enjoy the show.
Hi there. Welcome to this, the 24th episode of A Couple Takes on MS. This is Dan Digman.
Hi, this is me, Jennifer Digman.
And what we're talking about today, because we are the couple with MS, Couple Takes is Dan. I have relapsing remitting MS.
And me, Jennifer, I have secondary progressive MS. And Dan and I have each been living with multiple sclerosis for nearly 20 years.
You're over, I'm nearly 20 years.
There we go.
So what we're talking about today, and just hear us on this, it's let me see you move. It's movement with multiple sclerosis.
Which is so very important. And it's one of those things when you're living with multiple sclerosis, you may say that's ironic because the disease makes it difficult for me to move. But it's one of the most important things to do to help your health and your condition. And I'm sure there's tons of literature, and we can cite the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. I'm sure if you look at healthline.com or mangohealth.com, you'll see a lot of really important information about the importance of movement.
And I think really what we're talking about today, and we can see the need for movement. Note that we're not necessarily saying exercise. Well, I mean, obviously that's part of it if you can go out and exercise, but it's just being out there, just moving your body, moving in some way, shape, or form.
And that's ironic, again, because we have multiple sclerosis, a condition, a disease that may make movement difficult or may limit the amount of movement we can do independently. I mean, you may not remember, but Dan does because he's sitting right next to me. I'm his wife. But I've been in a wheelchair for 15 years. So movement for me, well, sure, I move a lot because I have a wheelchair and I can move quickly because it's automatic or electric. But movement for me, it's highly important, and it often entails stretching. I'm trying to incorporate a little more weight lifting and repetition to build up my stamina.
Well, and by weightlifting, you're not talking about squatting 435 pounds, which is still impressive nonetheless. I mean, you're almost there, but
he jokes.
It even is just because you've got the 1 pound weight.
I've got my cute little 1 pound dumbbells that I use to pump iron, if you will, just to go across my body and to lift up my arms and engage my muscles.
Yeah, because you think about, like a baseball player when, they're in the on-deck circle swinging a bat, and they have just even those little weights to put on the end of the bats to swing just to get that little extra thing. And I think it's, even if you don't have the weights, it's just the motion and the movement with no weights. I mean, that's part of what I'm going through. It used to seem like wasn't very challenging, but it's the repetition of just stretching upwards, doing that, like a repetition of 3 sets of 10, just stretching upwards, or just the squatting.
The benefits are so, I mean, it's like me, I have a standing frame because, as I mentioned, I'm in a wheelchair, so I'm seated probably about 15 hours out of the day. And when I have the opportunity to get into a standing frame, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out Dan and my website because there are photos of me in my standing frame. But this allows me to get in a standing position And because of the frame, I can lock my knees and stand for nearly 30 minutes a couple times a week. And that really is good for weight bearing, which is good for your circulation. And so I think that, like you saying you stretch, Dan, my standing frame stretches me out, and that's important. And granted, I'm standing stationary and I'm not really moving, but my blood is moving, my heart is pumping. But I think that when you say that's important parts of movement.
Well, it totally is, and I think it's always interesting when you think about this, and just to follow up to our website, it's danandjenniferdigman.com.
Oh yeah, that's right.
To see that, but when I come home at night and Jennifer has her caregivers during the day, I have to help her transfer at night in the bathroom.
Yeah, that was the point I was thinking about making. Sorry, thanks for picking me up.
I'm finishing your sentences, baby.
Thanks.
So no, but when I come home at night after working all day, and then Jennifer, I help her to transfer in the bathroom, she doesn't have to say anything to me about what she did during the day. If I help her to stand, I always say, you used your standing frame today, didn't you?
Because I spring up.
And it's just because
Boing.
Just standing in her standing frame, how that helps you to have that motion to move. And so I think this is what we're really bringing this to your attention in our show today, that really it's the movement, the motion, moving your muscles, moving your arms, getting that flexibility.
And there are so many benefits. And I mean, you don't have to have another person to see the benefits. As Dan was saying, just when I do my standing frame during the day and he's not here, he can see the benefit that it makes me stand more quickly and easily, which helps him as my caregiver. And it helps me because I am empowered. I feel like awesome when I'm able to stand more quickly and easily. And that's important because this disease can be a little depressing, and you can have those moments where you feel sorry for yourself. But if you stretch and you get some activity, you get some happy endorphins, and you get stronger. And that, I think, I always, when you say, oh, you stood in your standing frame today, I feel pretty awesome. I'm like, yes, sir, I did. So I think that's important, a benefit in addition to all the other laundry list of benefits from exercise and movement. Again, we're not using exercise, we're talking about movement. But just that how it helps you mentally is another benefit.
And by no means are we discouraging you from actual exercising. I think that, but it's like to make things more approachable and just the reality and the importance of things, it's the movement. And that's what we're doing a self-care challenge on our website.
Yes, that's right.
And this week it's danandjenniferdigman.com. And with this self-care challenge, the title was Let Me See You Move, which is the title of this particular show here on MS&Me Radio Network. But it's just a question, just saying, challenging you to move, just the stretching, the movement.
And everything. I mean, your body is big, whether you're short or tall or thin or chubby. I mean, your body is big. You've got fingers, from your fingers to the tip of your head to the tip of your toes. Movement, you move what you can, and if you have trouble moving, ask a partner, ask a caregiver to help you get that blood flowing and to get that movement, because it's so important and it really will have those benefits.
And I think that you bring up a good point with that, as far as like having a partner and everything. That was the big thing. Let's just be totally honest and transparent on all of this. Jennifer,
I'm saran wrap, so please help me with my
You are totally
transparency.
saran wrap. I can see right through you.
Yes.
But no, what I...
Sorry,
you threw me off.
threw Dan off, but I have people to help me do my movement because it's not easy as a person in a wheelchair to figure out how to move. it would be really easy to say, well, A, I have multiple sclerosis, and B, I'm in a wheelchair. Movement isn't really something for me. But I've been fortunate that I've sought the advice of physical therapists over the years who have given me plenty of exercises or activities I can do to help me move more.
Well, then, I remember where I was being transparent, but you brought up a great point. So let me ask you this then, Jennifer. What you talk about people, helping you to move. Obviously, you have caregivers that can help you stand in your standing frame. I can help you stretch your arms. What kind of movements can people do by themselves? I mean, if you don't have a caregiver or somebody here to help you, because obviously, your legs don't move, and your arms, you have your arms and your hands. I mean, what can you do for movement,
There's a number of things.
such as?
I can take a belt, like a belt that you wear around your waist, and loop it around my foot to try and stretch my foot. Or I can use the door frame to stretch my arms forward. Or I can use a TheraBand that I've gotten from physical therapy before to help stretch my arms.
How about just even rotating your neck, or just turning
Rotating.
getting the head movement in motion?
Getting the head movement, and always, there's a wealth of knowledge on the internet. If you type in, exercises to do by yourself, you will find a lot of information. And I think that helps. And one of my favorite is I have a passive foot bike, like a pedaler that will, basically, it's like riding the bike without having to put any force in it. But I put my legs into the pedals, and that moves my legs, which is good for my circulation, but it also stretches out my hips, and that's a really good exercise. Granted, I need someone to help me put my feet into the pedals, but I don't need someone to push the pedals or do it. So there are easy, different apparatus like that. And so, you stretch. What do you do?
That's just it. It's stretching, and the other thing I was thinking too is just your hands, just even extending your hands out, your fingers, and I'll come back to that because I'll talk about the transparency, and that I can talk all gung ho about, oh, we need to move, we need to stretch, we need to do this. I didn't realize this, or I didn't have this, because the reality is I used to run. And I used to, it was, getting ready, doing, 3, 4, 5 miles a day, running and stuff. And then once I stopped running, and I'm thinking, oh, I can't run anymore. And exercise just isn't where I can't do it and everything. Jennifer got involved. There's a group of physical therapy students at Central Michigan University that we present to their classes every year. But they have a group that's doing an exercise class for people, specifically for people with multiple sclerosis and Parkinson's disease. Jennifer started doing it, and she came home after the first day and it's just like the room wasn't big enough for the smile she had on her face.
It was amazing. I felt so fantastic. You're right, after that first
You
class.
did, and well, in every class thereafter. But she came home with that big smile, and she says, "You are going next time. You are going."
And it's where Dan and I are very lucky, because we do talk to these second year physical therapy students at Central Michigan University. And we do tell them about the realities of life with multiple sclerosis. These students may not know people with MS or may not have experience, and we are open books, and we let them talk to us, and now, because of this exercise class, they work with us and they see how MS bodies move. And we're fortunate that we have that. But Dan mentioned that the class also has people with Parkinson's disease, which is also another neurologic condition where we partner because the conditions are not the same, but they have similarities. And it's a population where we all benefit from exercise. Again, I'm using the word exercise, and I mean movement, because they individually, I don't want to say individually, but they tailor the activities in the class for Parkinson's and MS. They tailor the class so that it is to your level of function, because Dan has more ability, if you want to say that, than I do in certain respects. So some of his exercises, again, I'm using that word, but some of the things that he can do to challenge him are a little different, certainly, than what I do. And that's where the exercises are adapted for each of us, for our level of activity.
And I think that's what really made it, because I did go, this is like, today was my second time in the year, third,
yeah.
because it's going on all semester for these students. But it's like, honestly, the exercise, I didn't even break a sweat. But we were constantly moving, and the stretching and the twisting and just moving the muscles. Very simple forms, but it's just, I guess my point being that happened this morning, and it's just like, I'm on fire, and I don't want to stop. And I think it's just because our bodies, because of the movement, the motion, and I feel so much more awake and agile. And I realize everybody, there's all the healthy people out there who's just like, I exercise all the time. They say that's exactly how I feel. I don't exercise all the time. Just even after that stretching, it was just like stretching up, and just, the stretching my arms all the way up, and just extending the hands out, and just how much it just keeping your body moving. And that's where where just that motion has such an impact. And that's where I credit you for encouraging me to do this, because otherwise I could have found every excuse as to why staying home and writing a story on the computer, or researching something online for another story would have been a better investment of my time. But it's just taking that hour, whatever time, just doing that motion makes such a huge difference.
I read something on Facebook, or somewhere I read something that it said nobody. How was it? I really regret going to that exercise class. Said no one ever. When you exercise, look at Dan. It's 8 hours after our class this morning, and you're still feeling great. I'm exhausted, not exhausted because that's not fair, but I'm a little tired. But I know that that fatigue is manageable, and I've still been able to make the transfers in the bathroom, and I feed myself, which is important. But I know that this is going to build endurance, and that I'm going to feel better. And yes, you weren't sweating, but it challenged you. And I know last week you were challenged, and
it's one of the things where I did, we did just even squats and bending of the legs, and it was like 3 days afterwards, like to help Jennifer, like put on your shoes, your Ted hose. I couldn't squat like I did because my legs hurt so bad. And I think that's the big thing, and truly that was just moving. I didn't lift weights, I didn't do anything. It was just natural movement. But it's like, don't get discouraged when your body is sore. It's just responding. And obviously you don't want to overdo it.
exactly, and that's really important for those of us in the MS community, and really any of us out there at all. Don't overdo it, because potentially you may have said, Jen, I don't want to go today. I'm still a little sore from last week. So you don't want to overdo it, because you want to be able to continue going to the class and continue to live. So you have to find that healthy balance.
And it's knowing things. I think it's just after, knowing that running, as I used to do, there's times that your body's going to hurt just because of muscle tears and everything, just the building up, like you said, the endurance. But it's just like, I probably will be sore tomorrow from some of the
As
movement.
will I.
But at the same time, there's definitely a good and a bad kind of pain. Obviously, don't buy into the no pain, no gain. That's not the intent.
No.
But it's just like your body just isn't used to that kind of movement and stuff. So I think but again, like I said, the movement.
the movement, and as I say that I'm sore or I'm a little sore tonight, I smile saying it because I know I put in some really good work today. And that is something where, again, it's tied into mental. I don't know any of you out there with MS. I have those moments where I do feel like, oh, I used to be, oh, what I used to be. And that's that quagmire that I don't want to see anyone falling into. And so when you go and you're able to do something today, for as much as you can embrace, oh, I used to be able to do something, embrace, look what I did today. 9 hours ago, or 8 hours ago, excuse me, I was lifting my arms, and granted, some people were helping me to get the extension that I needed, but I was doing it, and I was breathing, and I was putting in some good work. So I'm really proud, and I don't think that's a feeling that you ever get tired of. It's just like looking back and saying, I really worked hard, and that's going to show positive benefits.
And that's the whole thing, because yeah, and you obviously you don't look and say, oh, I used to be able to do this, I used to be able to do that. It's like, I used to be able to run, I used to be able to go and do this. Just doing the stretches today is exactly where it's like where I am right now with my abilities, my body, my MS. And so it's just knowing you and knowing your body. I think that's one of the places where we're fortunate in having the university here in the town and having access to those kinds of things. So for everybody out there, if you don't have that kind of access, there's reach out to your physical therapist in your town, in wherever you go for physical therapy.
And look for community support. If it's in a senior center or a exercise gym, just look for that support, because everybody needs to move. And if you can't do it on your own, or you don't want to do it on your own, I don't blame you, because it's really fun to be in a class with people who are rooting you on and struggling, and and doing it with you. That's just a really good feeling. So reach out. The connections are so important. I think Dan and I probably ad nauseum could say make connections, but make connections. Reach out, look for other people that are facing the challenges you are, and that can help you to live your best self and to move more.
And that's where, go online. The fact that you're listening to this program says you have access to a computer, or you know how to use it. I mean, there's going to be exercise programs out there, motion programs online, YouTube, whatever, that will get you moving. That's where you connect with other, like, Facebook communities or people, because there will be suggestions, people who are in the same position as you.
And in this day and age, most people have some sort of smart device, smartphone, or a tablet, someplace where you can download some sort of app that will help you move more, to track your movement. And we've been really fortunate that we've had the opportunity to journal and record our movement. And that's really important to keep track of and use the apps that are out there, because you can see the progress that you're making. And that will make living with this disease better, because you make progress. As long as you're moving forward, you're always going in the right direction, in my book.
And one of the apps we use is the Health Storylines app. Go to your app store and find that. It's a great
free.
It's a free app, and it's for any person. You don't have to have a health condition of any kind, but it's something where it's great to have just different features of the app. To Jennifer, we really like follow along with like the journal, and just
Right.
the speak to text, to speak in how the day went.
And
what
it's a
was
great
good.
place to keep track of your appointments with doctors, or to keep track of medication. But there are many apps out there.
Tons of apps.
So there are so many tools for all of us in the community whether it be the MS community or just in the human community, different ways to keep track of your health. And that's important, and it's so important to keep moving.
And like we said, then thank you for listening to us again today. This is Couple Takes on MS. This is Dan Digman with Jennifer Digman.
And that's our address, our website. Our blog is danandjenniferdigman.com. And check it out, see our pictures. And if you want to share photos with us of you moving more, that would be fantastic.
Find us on Facebook or on Twitter. Just to share your photos, share your movement, and as we talk today, the key, let us see you move. Just to see, get moving the arms. We're not talking exercise per se. It's just, just the motion of the arm, the stretching,
your ability, your functional level. Don't overdo it, but move.
And with that, it helps to decrease spasticity. It helps you with your mood, just the overall circulation and health. But thank you for listening again. Check in with us, and we will see you next time.
And this is a Couple Takes on MS, and you can find us on Twitter at DanJenDig. Tweet, please. We'd love to see photos.
And thank you again for listening. Thank you to the MS&Me Radio Network for having us. And thank you to Blue Giraffe Kid for composing the theme music to our show. Thank you. Show us your movement, and we'll check in with you next time. Take care.